Is anything happening here? It's kind of, I am having major issues with the whole setup here. So it looks like everything is so tired and zero energy is in any of us. So anyway, one of those things. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is awesome of all of you to be here. Thank you so much, Christina and Patrick and Jeremy and Julia, of course, and anyone else who is, oh, and good day, Steve, how exciting, and anyone else who is also watching. Today is a super special day, of course, because it's Christina's birthday. Fantastic. I don't know if you could hear that sound effect because let's do this again. Yes, there we go. Fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And my mom is watching as well. Good evening to my mom. She's tried to put this game on her large Apple TV, but it somehow didn't work. There's some kind of protocol thing. I'm having major issues with Mixer today. It looks like Microsoft are still having some problems with the FTL protocol. So if it's either lagging behind or if it's kind of dropping in and out all the time, try switching the FTL protocol off, the low latency thing, bottom right corner, the gear icon, and just switch off the low latency. That's one of those things. You're very welcome, Christina. Awesome. I'm glad I'm glad you're still alive. I'm still, when I hear stories like yours and think about stories like mine, I keep thinking of that end music of Portal that we were playing, Still Alive. That is just, it always brings tears to my eyes. It's awesome. You're still alive. I'm still alive. We're all still alive. And we're here tonight to play Abduction together and see what's going down in this new world we found called Grey World. I'm sure it's not called Grey World, really. I'm sure there's something that we can call it, but I just don't know what it is yet. It's one of these three worlds that it is probably the one that we've discovered, so we'll see what happens. Let me just load that game in and see if we can find it. Oh yes, also then of course, if the low latency option switched off on Mixer isn't working, jump in on YouTube. I'm kind of going to switch back and forth between YouTube and Mixer here, and as a third backup there's always Twitch, just in case. But let's hope we don't have to go there. There we go. That is our game as we left it last time. Oh, by the way, I've got my coffee here. I've got some water here. Julia's got some work to do, and she's going to join us again in about half an hour, 45 minutes. Brian is at work until 5 p.m., so in about 1 hour. And Brian left me a very important tip. He said, I'm not going to give too much away, he says, but maybe I made that part up, I don't know. But he says that we should be focusing on this new world that we discovered, this grey world. Let's just do that. If I can find out how to get back there, maybe we can figure this out together. What do you think? At least we can walk around. Here's our tree. So currently we're in Hunrath. That's cool. What did you do for your birthday today, Christina? You said your kids were going to take you out? That sounds exciting. Staying alive, that is what I've been doing for my last birthday too. That's very cool. Excellent. Rejoice, I say, rejoice. And of course, party. I can't quite remember how to get to Grey World, of course. Even though this is only a week old, it seems like we've been away forever. Crazy stuff. Let me try and go down in the elevator. Because we can't travel through the trees yet. I think that is one of the missions that we need to do. Let's see if we can find it again. Patrick, do you remember how to get to Grey World? Knowing full well, of course, that today we're playing with a little bit of a delay here. Nice to see you all again. This is very nice. I have really been missing these streams. I've particularly been missing Subnautica, especially after what happened with the previous episode of Subnautica. There was some kind of a viral thing going. Very good, very good. So you should, Patrick. I'm just gonna wander around aimlessly. Maybe I'll find it. Let's see. Yes, so the previous episode of Subnautica last Saturday, so not 2 days ago, but literally a week ago, that went viral a little bit, and it just had over 600 views spontaneously. And most viewers, I've just looked at the YouTube stats, most viewers stayed on there for over an hour. That's high. Usually when people don't care, they switch off within about 10 seconds, but no. Very cool. So here's the, what was that again? This was the mayor's office, just trying to get my bearings here. Oh, this is an interesting 3D trick here. When I took a screenshot of this, and I can do that again, I thought I'll do that and commemorate those amazing volumetric lights here. But it turns out that if I do that, let's take a screenshot right now and have a look at the picture. It looks like this is not what the screenshot looks like. So look at that. This is clearly the picture, but it's much, much darker. So it looks like there's some post-processing going on before the screenshot is taken, or something that happens after the video output. Some kind of, I don't really know what it is. Maybe a bloom filter or something else is going on here other than just drawing these lights. I thought that's interesting, just in case we wanted to recreate them. It's kind of a pet project of Patrick's and mine to recreate these things in Death Studio. Don't know if we'll ever be able to make it. Have we had a look at this yet? I don't think I found that last time. Oh, do you think that's where it is? Let's do that. Let's go there then. Because I think Farley's house, I can pretty much remember where that was. Casually walking over here. Walking past the creepy tree here. Which is definitely... Oh yeah, you're at Green World. There was Green World and there was Grey World. Why don't we just deduct this just like Perry Mason would? By a process of elimination. We'll go to the edge to the back of Farley's house, and then we'll just see if that's where Grey World is. And even if we don't, maybe I remember that reading some of the things in Farley's house certainly tells us what Grey World is actually called. Because I think Grey World is just something that we made up. I'm sure it has a funkier name like Mofang, but currently I don't know which one is what world. Yes, Patrick, I think that's where that was. You're right, at the scrapyard, at the top there somewhere. Let's have a look, let's have a look. No, that was just a visitor log. That was the back, and this here. I believe in one of these it was described what the inhabitants of the other worlds looked like. Yeah, like this one. That's the Mofang basic external morphology. Oh man, that was just that passage there. Come back. Oh, Steve, that's so nice of you to say. I was missing the streams as well, I must say. I just had no energy. That was kind of crazy. So look, the Mofang at the bottom here, it says the Mofang basic external morphology is remarkably humanoid. So I don't think Grey World is Mofang then, because we saw 2 or 3 of these little insect fellas sitting on a rock. Let's see what this says. Is this communication? No, that's not it. Is this then on the next page, perhaps? Yeah, I don't think that's what we've met in Grey World. Awry. 3 distinct variants that have come to be referred to as barnacle, beetle, and polyarch. So I'm thinking perhaps we've met the Awry then. Perhaps Grey World is where the Awry live. Could be. Yeah, that. I think we've seen that. So I wonder then... Hey, Mike Myers! Fantastic! Glad that you could join us. How exciting! So I'm thinking perhaps Greyworld was indeed these guys here, because we found 2 or 3 guys sitting on rocks. Or was it these guys? The Villain. Large and imposing frame. No, I don't know. No, that's not them. That's definitely not them. So Mike, we're just trying to go back to Greyworld, which perhaps, just perhaps, could be the Ori world. And of course, we've forgotten how to get there, so one of those things. We thought we're going to try to get there by a process of elimination. First by trying to figure out, was it this path behind Farley's house, which is this. So there's a couple of possibilities here. Could be here. Quickly jog through here. Can you imagine you had to do this in real life? You'd have sweat running all over you all the time. Ah, see, this is the scrapyard. I think this is it. Slightly further. Oh, did I mention I bought Mist now? It's the remaster of the remaster, I believe. It's called Mist, and it's called Real Mist. Masterpiece Edition, I think. And that is a game that looks now almost like this, so you can wander around in the Mist world. Very cool. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. I've never played that before. Maybe we can do that together once this game is over. Well, do you think this is going to get us to Greyworld? Let's check it out. Certainly getting us somewhere. Yes. Yeah, Mixer's terrible these days. Man, we went to Mixer because it was better. Now it's worse. What happened? I tell you, multi-streaming to as many platforms as you can so that 1 in 10 actually works. That's cool. We should try D-Live next time. Friday stream didn't happen, Mike. That is absolutely correct. I was so tired I couldn't even keep my eyes open. And if I've learned anything from my hospital experiences, it is that you really have to listen to your body and not push through these things. Very important. Patrick, I can't while I'm streaming already. It looks like the signal arrives correctly at the destination. It's just that Mixer itself has an issue. So YouTube seems to be stable. Maybe if that works better, have a look at YouTube. The lag should be pretty much the same. Yes, Christina, this is a new world that we discovered, and we just named it Greyworld because it came... So what happened last time is we fiddled with this bridge here that got us onto this part over here, I believe. And there's another exit that it got us to, I believe over here. So what we now see here, the green stuff, that is the outside of this bubble. So it looks like we're in a new dimension, and the outside of this doesn't look purple, it looks green. And we're on the inside of this, which is grey. And we couldn't walk through that previously because this world also had a red laser pointed at its horizon, or at this sky. So there was this, do you remember in Hunrath, there was this little shop, like a provision shop, that we could never get into? Well, it turns out that when we flicked one lever, we could get in there, and in there was another kind of portal like the one that we just went through, and with that we were able to switch off that laser, and that made us now possible for us to go through the edges of this bubble as well, like the edges here. Rod is here! How exciting! I was trying to recreate this thing and forgot how to do it now. There's a lever here somewhere. Was this it? Maybe this is it. No, this is it. Okay. Ah, yes. That moves over here. And that... is that quite enough? No, I think we need to pull that lever one more time. And then... oh man. What a shame. Maybe we need to pull that lever one more time. No. Ah. How interesting. Oh yes, we just walked through this wall thing here. This that looks like the end of nowhere. And that now gets us to the other side of this bubble. Whatever that is going to look like. Aha. So I'm here because Brian told me that there's something else that we need to do here, and we haven't found that last time. How are you keeping today, Rod? And more importantly, are you watching on Mixer or on YouTube? Julia quite correctly said he's on Mixer. Yes, of course. I should just look at that icon in front of your name. That'll give it away, won't it? I guess what I was gonna ask is, what's the picture look like for you? Because we seem to be having a few issues with the Mixer today. When I remember correctly, when I looked through all this last time, there was nothing that was jumping out, so we just need to all cast our eagle eye out for anything. If you see anything that I'm kind of glazing over or walking past, let me know. And tell me to go back. Oh, right, and also, in case you haven't read it on Discord, it's Christina's birthday today! So we're gonna blow a lot of party horns today. I was gonna wear one myself, but I couldn't scramble one up. Yeah, a lever, eh? Shall we try and pull it? Ah, doesn't work. Damn. And Rod, just checking, you're watching this with the low latency setting, right? Because I tried that earlier and it didn't want to work so well. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Happy birthday. Can't walk further past here. We've looked at all this over there too last time. Maybe we'll go back and see what else is there once we're done with this little piece of heaven over here. Yes, Steve, are you still here? I think last time Steve was commuting actually from... Oh, okay, there we go. See you later, Steve, no problem. Yes, last time I think Steve was watching this on an LTE connection while he was commuting on a train. Very, very cool. I love it. Well, it looks like there's not much we can do here. So let's go back and see if we can do something on the other end there. I believe was it through here. There we go. It looks kind of crazy doing this. Rod Shelley, thank you so much for hosting my stream. I appreciate that. So, can't go any further this way. Let's go the other way then. Yeah, I think from what I read on the Discord community there, on the Mixer Discord community, they're having some issues with the Google Chrome, latest version of Google Chrome. That seems to have screwed up the FTL protocol properly. They reckon it still works on Firefox, but I think that's a lie. I'm using Firefox and it's atrocious. So when you click on the little gear icon at the bottom right corner, you can switch off that tick box that says low latency. And when you do that, it'll lag. I mean, there's kind of the same delay that YouTube has to offer between you and me, but the picture quality is much better, and there's more buffering going on then. Yeah, same here, Christina. My Firefox doesn't like it. Safari doesn't like it. I'm not using Chrome. What is a boy to do? Let's all go back to YouTube. Deal with YouTube issues instead. I wonder if this is the kind of Beatles stage that we were reading about. If this is in fact awry, then perhaps this is... YouTube wins today. I like it. Let's all go to YouTube. Good idea. Can you imagine? Ah, that would be kind of crazy. It was sabotage. Quick, get the head of engineering of YouTube in here. Sir, what's going on? Well, have you seen what Microsoft are doing? This low latency thing? How can we do that? Sir, we can't. I have no idea how they're reproducing that protocol. Well, there's only one other option then, isn't there, Johnson? Why? What are you suggesting, sir? Sabotage them. Oh my god. So this is now the other side of what we've just looked at, well, from the other side. But last time I think we pretty much looked at everything here, and it was really difficult to get an idea of what we're going to do. He just had a good night's sleep, sir, that's all. Oh, and then there's this little staircase here. Yeah, same here, Christina. I'm very surprised. If I just go by a hunch, I'm thinking that I'm thinking that we probably have to do something with this statue. If this was a Tomb Raider game, we probably have to pull or push this thing to fit into some other mechanism and then kick something off. Was that just a button that we need to press here? Yeah, so my theory still is that once we get this tree here up and running and give him the same treatment that we gave our Hunrath tree, I guess that would hopefully mean that we can travel subterraneously between these dimensions at the bottom of the tree, where we get to this stony pathway that leads into, well, space basically. But this tree's still red, so I think we need to, I don't know, crank up some fluid here. Just making sure I haven't missed any levers or buttons here, anything obvious. That looks dramatic as well. This is not a lever. Okay, what were you using before, Patrick? Were you using Chrome? Yeah. Do you know, I wonder what this is going to be like on Internet Explorer. It's not something I use anymore, but of course it comes installed with Windows, and you'd imagine it being a Microsoft company, maybe that's what they're trying to do. Perhaps they're trying to force us to use Internet Explorer because that's the only browser with which Mixer is going to work. Ploy number 2. Get Johnson in here. Yes, sir. How can we make it so that no one else can watch the Mixer signal except on Internet Explorer? Well, sir, that'll be difficult. I mean, you wanted it to be compatible with as many browsers as possible, I guess. Okay, let's revise that statement. Make it compatible only with Internet Explorer. Oh dear. We've looked at this too. Do you know, absolutely, Christina. Absolutely. I mean, I don't think they would want to do that because they'd narrow their audience quite severely. I do know that Mixer is integrated in the Microsoft Xbox. So through Xbox I get quite a few views. That's something that the PlayStation doesn't have. It's not, they have integrated YouTube and Twitch, but they haven't integrated Mixer, and I think that's what makes Mixer very popular, because you can go and casually play a game and then watch a stream on your big TV without having to open a browser. There's also the other thing, the other bit of news I've heard about the whole Sony and Microsoft thing is that I believe they are discussing a strategic partnership for the future. Don't quite know what that's gonna mean, but they're both looking into this whole cloud streaming thing, and it looks like, oh, this is somewhere we haven't been yet too. How exciting. Julia's gone back to her desk and is doing some work now. Yeah, so something in regards to partnership is coming. I don't know if that means Mixer is coming to the PlayStation, or their PlayStation Now system will include Xbox games in the future, or if there won't be an Xbox 2 and a PlayStation 5, if they're going to create the same console, if they're all going to do this whole thing in the cloud, who knows? Do you know, I don't think we've been here before. sneaky staircase we may have not visited before. Thanks, Patrick. I'll have a look at that later. It's good to see these things. I can only judge by literally one browser because the Firefox on the Mac, it can display mixer, but not in low latency. Oh, look at that! I wonder, first of all, screenshot here. Maybe the girls from TNA will make an appearance down here, Rod. What do you think? That could be. Could happen. I wonder if this is in fact the operational part of the machine. Oh, wow, it's huge. Yeah, Julia just needs to finish a few things off and then she'll be with us again. That looks rather grand, doesn't it? Good lighting too. But... okay. Do you know, the other thing that you can try, I don't know if that makes a difference, Patrick, is in FTL you can turn the resolution down. It's if you turn that to 480, then I've noticed it is a lower bandwidth, but it is also 30 frames a second, so it's not 60 anymore. FTL is the low latency protocol, so low latency equals FTL. It's the abbreviation for faster than light. It's a good name for a protocol. What do you suppose we're going to do with this? Yeah, so if you deselect low latency, then you get more buffering. And if you bring 1080p down to 480, then you save some bandwidth. This is somebody from D Live. I just need to quickly ban that guy. Give me a second. That's another option to watch the stream on D Live. Obviously, if you're typing gibberish like 50 times a second, then it's not such a good idea. Delete and mute. Awesome. There we go. Goodbye, Emir HANTAHA0. Nice to have met you. Drop by any time. You can't anymore. What a shame. The shadow of this thing almost looks like a skeleton, doesn't it? Oh, okay, that's good to know, Patrick. Internet Explorer, eh? It seems likely that that's the one that would actually work. There was another little staircase here somewhere. There we go. Oh, Mike, if you're still here, this is another translation job for you. Also, how do you think the people from Grey World came into the possession of some Russian machine? Oh, this is creepy. There were a lot of chains, weren't there? I wonder if this whole thing, if this is a separate button than this. Oh yes it is, isn't it? Oh, is this a button? Yes. These things are also buttons. Oh my god. This looks like a puzzle for us. Are these knobs switchable as well? Oh, that's the E button. I thought this was the... Man, this is gonna be difficult. Do we need to know Russian for this? Should I maybe not press random buttons all the time? Oh dear. Oh my god, can you imagine, Jeremy? That would be quite crazy. And also, what do you suppose the purpose of this is? Do we need to make all the lights go on? Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a principle of elimination, isn't it? Behind the machine. You mean here? Ah, they seem to be flashing up every so often. We've seen yellow versions of this as well. But these guys here, they definitely look like the inhabitants of this world here. My god. Yeah, let's do that. We know that this is a puzzle that definitely needs to be solved. Not sure what it's going to get us, but probably access to this machine here. Let's see what happens when we go up here. The visor for giants, yes. Oh, okay. Thank you, Mike. Did you need to read anything else? Because there were quite a few Russian expressions on here. Let me just go find this thing again. Maybe, oh, there it is. Voltage regulator. Right, okay. So is that the one on the bottom right, Mike? Is that voltage regulator? And then there's this thing... and then there's this thing here, that's also interesting. I wonder if that's knob. This and that here. There's no clue in here, Mike, what we're supposed to do, right? I mean, I'm just guessing we need to probably make all these lights go on somehow, and each of these switches does, I don't know, something to alleviate that. You'd think just pressing number 5 would be, oh my god, there's more lights at the top. Oh, look, that's a number at the top. That's interesting. Thank you, Mike. Very cool. I did see that. Yes, thank you, Patrick. we press these things? That is crazy. Yeah, I don't know about this whole, I call it segregation, if you will, of Amazon accounts, because the European accounts somehow seem to be linked, but not all of them are, which makes no sense. So I can understand that perhaps the American ones and the European ones aren't linked, but it's just, they have their own rules, Amazon, don't they? Come on, number 5. Zero Kelvin! Glad to see you. We're stuck in what appears to be, thanks to Mike Myers, a voltage regulating device. Let's see what happens, Patrick. They're usually very generous. And as soon as you make another purchase, and even if you leave the review a little bit later, I think you'll get your money. Don't you worry about it. And if not, like you say, it's you know, maybe it was a good investment. Think of the team streaming. Randomly, that's exactly what I'm thinking, Mike, because I think that's the only thing you can solve these puzzles here. So this and that seems to have done almost the same. This one and that one. Which one switches on the number 5? That's what I want to know. We figure that out. We can just switch all the other ones so that the number 5 just doesn't go off anymore. I'm not entirely sure if these switches actually do what they're supposed to do down here. Okay, Rod, we'll be here. We'll let you know if anything happens. Brian, how did you fix this puzzle? Did you just randomly press buttons until this worked out? So I'm thinking the number 5 key just never comes on, does it? 0 clues, no. Makes me wonder if... Oh my god, okay. Makes me wonder if we need to fix something to make that number 5 pop into action here. If in fact the aim of the game is to make all these buttons light up. And then of course there's also this number at the top here. I guess that number was incorrect. Can you imagine? We have to type in a number and make sure these switches are all in the right positions. Oh my god, that's going to be great. Oh, you know, that would explain why the number 5 never comes on. Let's switch this thing off and to move on. Can we do that with the battery here? No. Okay. Do you know, I just finished the 0 Kelvin, the first one, last night, and it really made me laugh when your character was exploring Mist Village. It's very funny. What a cool idea that would be. Is this a lever? No. Let's go down. I think we came from down, didn't we? No, we didn't. Let's go down. Oh, do you know, one day it's gonna happen. Ooh. Wheelie thing. Yes, I enjoy that flat wheel too. Very cool. Okay, this is exciting. Let's see what we can do. We do this again. It doesn't seem to stick. Ah. There's two things this time. There's this. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Right. That needs to be on there. That makes perfect sense. And perhaps then we spin that. That turns that. Oh wow. That makes that spin. This looks a little dramatic, doesn't it? Oh. Well, now that that spins, perhaps we can make that spin that. She thought that was very funny, Patrick. Now all we need to find is a way to ship this over to Dreamlab and give him this. Hey Dreamlab, we found a new aircon unit for you. It's large, but it's working, so don't knock it. Brian, how are you watching the stream? We've got some issues with Mixer, and we're not entirely sure where that comes from. From what I understand, they have issues with Chrome. This is probably, yeah, I can't do this anymore here. This also can't do that anymore. Yeah, but how are you watching Mixer? Firefox, right, okay. Cool. Yeah, me too. Firefox seems to be holding up okay. I wonder, do you know, there was a lever that we encountered earlier that was stuck as well. Do you think we missed something? I was wondering, there was a lever kind of earlier that we couldn't press. I was wondering if we can press it now. Not that I remember where that lever was. Yeah, I think that would be ideal, wouldn't it? Yes, you know, that would actually make sense. Let me just step back here and admire the whole architecture for a second. This whole thing would be spinning. And then what would it do? Maybe these guys know. Let's go back. Yeah, it looks like this is probably going to close in on each other. Maybe. And that. quite a contraption, I'll tell you that. This, I always get duped into thinking this is a lever, but it isn't. So how is this bottom thing then connected to the rest of this thing? Yes, by the magic of another wheelie thing. Oh. Oh my. Could have sworn I turned that earlier, but that is spinning now so fast. 60 frames a second is not fast enough to display the pictures. This is now not a mixer issue, that's just what it looks like. Quick, switch it back off! There's me thinking it would just harmlessly connect and interlock or whatnot, but no. That is so funny. Animation gone horribly, horribly wrong. Maybe if I turn it again. In case we need to make that work faster now, I guess we know how to do that. Yes, indeed. How indeed. You said that. I didn't say that. I think, was this it? Yes, I think this was it. The visor thing. See one upper right corner. Nah, don't think so. Oh, that! Oh, yeah. Oh my god. Oh wow, that's crazy. And what do we do now? Play this game together, man. No one can do this by themselves. It's crazy. So, do you think then, now that we've interlocked this thing, how do we turn the visor onto the next thing? Because that only goes here. And when I move it, it just doesn't want to move over here, because I think I'd like to do the same thing with this thing. you do that? And... aha! Locked on, Captain. Not the easiest thing to handle, I must say. It's maybe it'll work better with the mouse and keyboard. Let's see what else needs to be connected. I think we've got all the 4 things going. Certainly that. That makes that spin. Patrick, it's a feature. That's what they call it, a feature. So that makes that spin. That makes that spin. Is it all 4, do you think? Is the filter installed correctly? Big chains, huh? I think they're just holding this thing in place. I wonder if this machine now rotating, if that now means when we go back, something about that other mega large thing is happening or is in progress. Oh, you mean these chains here? Mega chain. Let's see if we can find it again. Oh, look, this is working now. Awesome. That's mega chain. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, wow. I can see it now. This is where it all continues, isn't it? Can we go up there from here? It's almost like this thing is a... I see. So, I guess they want us... If this was a genuine puzzle, we'd play with it, this thing would dislodge, fall down this here ladder, and we can just easily walk up it. On the other side, like here, you mean? No. On the other side. Right, we made this massive machine work here. So it was slightly tricky. Let me just quickly show you what happened here. We were in here, and all this thing is now moving. All the way from the bottom here, I think that's another little lever that we had to pull. And now all this is moving. This is then interlocking with this on all 4 sides. And now we're trying to work out what happens next. This one here, you mean? No, that's moving that. Okay, let's follow this. Lever. Let's pull it. It looks like an elevator. It could be, Mike. We're not entirely sure. So Brian reckons it's a red herring. It looks like it could get us somewhere, but it could also be that, you know, it's a red herring. So that just gets us back here. And I guess back to Hunrath if we wanted to go back, but I think we need to stay here. Well, if this thing is now operational, let's see what else we can visit. Oh, further down, let's do that. Ah, no, we're going up. Okay. So we found our way out. That's nice. Good to know. So where's that other staircase you keep talking about, Patrick? Outside, like to the left here. Okay. Oh, that on the front here. No, straight on. Cool. Oh, like here. Stairs, right now. That's huge. I don't know. I have a feeling we want to go up here and do something that makes these chains go into operation. I'm thinking we're probably going to get there at one point, but I have a feeling we're probably going to have to go up on this little platform here, pull another lever. But hey, who knows? Dreamlab, absolutely. What's happening? Yeah, I don't know. Mixer is on the down and down. What's happening? Well, the only way is down. So, mega chains and over here, that's not exactly where we can go there, huh? Yeah. Brian is a gentleman. Oh, this is the way we came in. Well, when I say in, up onto this platform thing. Glad that you could join us, Streamlab. How's the aircon doing? Are you sweltering, or is it back in operation? Brian, I don't think it's the restream thing today. I think they're okay. I think it's literally a Mixer thing. Maybe next time we can try streaming it just to Mixer, directly from me to Mixer. Maybe that makes a difference. No, I think I'm not actually. I'm on... Let me see, that's a very good point. Where am I streaming to? I haven't changed it since last time, so I think I'm still streaming to... I don't remember. How do I find out? No, I'm interested myself now. Maybe OBS will tell me. I'm using the Dallas server. There we go. Yeah, not via Miami. Miami was so flaky, so there we go. Ah. Oh, a permit. I didn't even have to do a permit for an aircon. I suppose it's like, I'm more familiar with the European way of thinking in regards that things never need to be cooled down because it's always just too cold. So we don't actually have aircons in Europe. We only have boilers that just make you warm in the winter, and then in the summer, well, just switch it off, it'll be all right. That thinking worked 50 years ago, and of course it doesn't anymore with global warming and stuff. So now in the summer, many Europeans wish they had an air conditioning, but most houses are not equipped with one. See if we can find any of these levers and things that weren't doing anything before. Oh, look at those chains. When I look at these things, you know, I'm thinking building this in 3D is one thing, and then going ahead and animating it, that's quite another. Oh yes, like these big boxes, right? They often have a large hose attached to it that you put outside a window. Yeah, even here in Miami, the old houses that often have these wall boxes, they're all installed afterwards, weren't they? The house was never designed to have an aircon. You just knock in a hole beyond the window, underneath the window, and then just go, hey, there we go, fridge without a door. Sometimes I see them in coffee shops and places like CVS, but their main aircon has stopped working. They just bring one of those things in. That's actually quite cool. And then you can either rent them or you can buy one. There wasn't there? I distinctly remember there was a lever that just wouldn't budge somewhere around here. We'll find it. Thanks to your tip, Brian, by the way, we did manage to get a bit further, as you can see, so that's very cool. So could this be the gondola that will take us over? Trying to find a lever here, but I don't think there is one. But this is certainly the way to get across it, isn't it? I think. Up here, you mean? How are we gonna get there? I wonder if we have to go back to that little turnstile thing. Yeah. Where does this lead? Yes, the turnstile thing then go through the bubble, and then we come out at this other place that had maybe had that lever. That's very possible. Do we remember this? I'm not entirely sure if I do remember that. Brian, also, I looked at... it's not even a rickety old bridge, is it? That? Oh no, I think we have been here. Have we been here? No, we've been somewhere similar. Or have we? I can't remember. See, speaking of Grey Wall, Brian, we were trying to find, first of all, we were trying to find the entrance into Grey World, which of course, you know, we couldn't quite remember. So we half deduced back behind, oh my god, behind Farley's house, and we found it. But while we were in there going through it, I took a little peek at, yeah, frickin' permits, huh? I took a little peek at these little instructions about who lives in which world. And am I right in assuming that this is the Arai world? And these little critters up on the rocks there, are they the Arai? I was trying to think. Grey World is never really mentioned anywhere, so it's kind of just a term that we made up last time. So I wonder if this is Arai. Didn't match the description of any of the other inhabitants there. Some were like, I don't know, 400 feet tall, and the other ones, I don't know, was also something different about them. Now, do we remember the way back to the turnstile thing? Was it here maybe? Could be. Oh, is that Green World? Oh yeah. Vote. Wouldn't that be cool? You make a vote and that changes reality. That would be cool. Hey, that sounds like democracy to me. Don't like this party? Vote and you'll get another party. That never works though, does it? I thought it was very dramatic, Brian. This thing when you looped the plane, the drone. Oh my god, that was such a highlight. And when you did it once and then you did it like 2-3 more times, it was really, really scary to watch. Joe and I were thinking, oh my god, what's happening? So, we're gonna go flick this lever over here. Oh, you'd get a heart attack. And now we're gonna walk into here. Prepare yourself for a white flash. Oh, that was too late, wasn't it? Up and away. Yes, up indeed. There we go. Yes, indeed. I can imagine. I mean, what happens if you don't quite make it? If you're too low to the ground or whatnot? Isn't that is so scary, isn't it? So that music, exactly. I think I need to find that. But this one. That's not the same as it. This one. But this one. Let's not forget, it's Christina's birthday today. Christina's 28th birthday. It's exciting. Let's pull the lever, see what happens. Hiya! Aha! Oh, okay, the thingy moves this way. Oh my god, no, it's not the thingy, it's us! Oh my goodness. Alright, Rob, we'll see you on the other side. You've got so much to live for, don't jump! Oh, now we're here. Right. That's a nice touch. So now we're over here. And we could go back at any time. I'm just going to test this. I'd like to make sure we can go back if we want. Yes, we can. That could be. Yeah, very funny. That could be just this thing being on the other end. That may be enough that this is now hooked. Very possible. Right, that was fast. Let's go back. .3, awesome version, and it's a great way of looking at it as well. You didn't even just got the software upgrade, you even got the hardware upgrade. That is kind of that's amazing. Very good way of looking at it. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm thinking us having moved that top gondola has moved the bottom gondola the other way. Ha 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 ha. Well, if that is the case, let's just go back, bring that gondola back? No, hang on. How are we going to do this? Okay, let's think about this. the mega gondola was here, right? Now it's here. We, on the other hand, we're in this little gondola, and we just swapped positions. How are we gonna be in the little gondola and go the other way? Really now, Rod, you picked up another Patreon supporter. That is very exciting. Woohoo! That is very, very cool. Yeah. The brown sphere, I think this is how we got into this world, or this is how we were able to switch off the laser. So this connects us with the thing behind the shop in Hunrath. Okay, I'm confused now. I'm totally confused. Because we want to be in the bottom gondola, but we also want to be in the top gondola to pull the lever to get the bottom gondola over there. How do I do that? I'm having a coffee. Let's go back in the little gondola, or let's go back through the turnstile thing. Turnstile, cool. Let's do that. I'm in with that. I'm down with that. It's basically, as we've pulled the lever, we traveled over here. Now the thing is over there, so now we're going to go travel back there. So hopefully kind of come out here again to jump back on that gondola, on the bottom gondola. Like the scary one with all the spikes and stuff. Move the bottom one out of the way. I like those cryptic clues, Brian. Very cool. Move the bottom one out of the way. Right, okay. Well, let's think about that before we do anything rash, like, you know, walking away here. How would we do that, though? Tell me. Down, like the down here. Oh, you mean like this thing here? And then we can go... Probably easy, but I can't remember. I have to go over this thing here. Yeah, but I can only go down on the other side though, can't I? Because that ramp is... No, I'll show you. There's reasoning behind my logic. I promise. This thing doesn't let me go down, but this thing on the other side here lets me go down, isn't it? Hence, I need to go on the other side. Forgot how I did that. Jump, exactly. And is it correct? I forgot. Is it on the top here, then back at the bottom? Can you do that? Oh, Mike, thank you. No, I missed your question. Thank you for letting me know, Christina. I'm not entirely sure. They did? Oh my god, seriously? I had no idea. Epic Games gave a grant to Blender? That is very cool. Well, tell you my experience with the Unreal Engine is that after you told me that there was a freebie, I installed it and I ran a couple of blueprints and that was it. I don't think I'm in a position yet that I could make tutorials about the Unreal Engine. But, you know, that would be really cool. At one point, sure. 1.2. Oh wow! I didn't even see that, Christina. I was so busy I didn't even get a chance to check the Discord. Very cool. Oh my god, that is big news. That's phenomenal news. I wonder if this was in the works for a bit, because last I remember when somebody brought up the Blender game engine, why isn't that developed? There was a kind of non-specific answers that were kind of fishy, but well, yeah, kind of it needs work, and maybe there is well, not quite how they work. We'll see about that. Sense. Maybe they were already thinking, well, Blender game engine, if ever we were to kind of, not really, but half merge with Blender, maybe that. Oh, right. That is awesome news. I'm so happy for the guys, both for Unreal and for Blender. That's just a match made in heaven. Oh, can you imagine the integrations that are coming up? Oh my god. I'm getting this AMSR effect just thinking about it. It's so cool. Is Firmament, is that the remake of Ribbon, or is that something else? Because I'm asking because I was looking into there was the sale on recently, and I picked up Real Mist, which was basically a remake of the remake of Mist, in which you can walk around like this. So that caught my eye, and in so researching, I then picked up that they were going to do the same with Ribbon, and that is also in the making. Oh, so that's a brand new game, like this one, brand new game. Nice! If you don't mind, drop the link to the Kickstarter campaign either in the chat or on Discord. That'd be really cool. I'd love to have a look at that. Myst was the first one in this series, and it's Myst with a Y. And it's... yeah, it was kind of the thing that kicked their whole philosophy off. First point-and-click adventure from the 90s. That's very cool. Now, I thought I could just go down here, but this is, of course, yet another part of the machine, isn't it? So this is not exactly where we want to be. We want to be at somewhere similar to here, just on the other side of all this. Awesome, thank you, Brian. So that was not the right way to go. There was an Adobe license change? Oh my god, we should get together more often. What did they change? Yeah, Patrick, we're going to play it. We're going to probably play it after this one. Let's play Real Mist after this one. So I'm thinking, am I correct in assuming that to get back to, or to get to the other side of this, do I need to go back through the turnstile and through the other side of the bubble to reach this ramp here? There's another rickety old thing again. How did we reach that? Man, it was just 5 minutes ago. Can't remember. This is how we're going to reach it, isn't it? This is how we need to get there, because we visited that, we went up here, and then that turnstile, then the big gondola from the bottom here, that was blocking it. Yes, I get it. How did we get here again? Yes, Mike, please enlighten us. What license changed, and what are, in layman's terms, what are the changes? How much are they asking for on Kickstarter? I was right there? Oh dear. Sorry, I'll just go back. I was right there? Where was it? Was it upstairs? No, upstairs goes to the other direction. This way? No. Did you mean this way, Brian? The other direction. Was there another direction? Tree to the left. Really? But how much is the total they're asking for? That's what I mean. Last time it was about $1.5 million, and they exceeded that goal, which is always awesome when that happens. It means there's a lot of support there. Help me out, Brian. I don't know where I'm going. Wow, 1 point. That's an interesting number, that. See, already, that is so exciting. Really? I just don't know. This isn't it. We know this isn't it. This is. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to exactly where I was, and you're going to have to tell me exactly where I'm going to have to go, Brian. Because I've lost the plot. Oh, well, those types of rumors, that they've been around literally forever. Let's wait until it gets made, Patrick, shall we? Okay, here I am. This is it. So, Oh yeah, but I can't. You mean here, across this gap here, you mean? This you mean, right? I can't because I can't go down. Unless you mean somewhere else. Here perhaps? Oh here, yes. I think I've got it now. Oh man. I'm not here. There! Right, okay. That's that mixer lag, isn't it? Man, finally. Whew. Right. Walk up here. It's ridiculous, isn't it? My goodness, it's never been that bad. Right, other fast streaming platforms to try. So I'm sure we've never been here. This is the new thing that we've opened now. See what's going on here. Well, shall we go right first? Not the Reapers! Spooky music is happening. Oh, and look, the tree comes into vision. Very cool. I'm just going to take a general sweep here and let us explore the area. Which means, Rod, that we're going to have to build Jay's Crab Shack here somewhere. If only we could do base building, huh? Absolutely. Coffee machine. Desk, that sort of thing. Ah, what have we here? Secret pathway to... we don't know what. 10 on my pocket says this won't open up. Who's with me? Ah, didn't open up. What a shame. Maybe we can peek behind it. Look at that. We can almost look inside here. Ah, well. No problem. I like that the creepy music is being triggered when we enter this room here. That's very cool. I must say, the outside of this world here, the green with the trees, that actually looks very nice. I wonder if we'll ever be able to visit that. Yeah, I guess I must do. This doesn't really particularly lead us anywhere. I wonder if we're going to find another laser card that's going to laser these stones away. Door number 3. Let's see what happens here. Oh. It's almost like that little scene by the river, isn't it? Just without the river. Yeah, it's almost like we're getting a little tinge of almost like a little taste of green world here now. Very interesting. Before I set foot on that rickety old path, I'm just going to have a quick look around, see if there's anything else here. Yeah, it's almost like this world is bleeding through in this bubble? That's a crazy thought, isn't it? They're gonna look awesome. Removed by catbot. What does that mean? What did you type, Rod? Unbelievable. I've never seen that before. That's interesting. Ah. If I had a hammer, huh? Now I have one. Yeah, Christina, I'm kind of with you there on the price front. For what you're getting for the amount of money that they're charging Adobe, you do get something really nice. It is just that for hobbyists, that's often very difficult to justify. I think many of us would like to use the Adobe Cloud package for things like personal projects, and because we like to learn the whole professional kind of suite of tools, but many of us just can't justify the expense on a monthly basis, and I think that's what's so sad about it. I mean, I'd love to use it, and I think I will just go and bite the bullet and buy the thing and use the fully fledged Creative Cloud. But it's one of those things. It is no problem really if you're making money with that. But if you're not, then it's just a huge expense. And I think that's what many just bemoan, the fact that they would like to have the one-off expense of a Photoshop from yesteryear and just go, I'll just keep using it until it doesn't work anymore. But now we just don't have the option to, to do that anymore. That's true, yes, and that's exactly what I'm using, but I'd love to use the latest version of Premiere. And it's kind of, you know, it's a whole circle there. Like my Mac, for example, I could upgrade it to Mojave, to the latest operating system for Mac OS. But at that point, my old Dreamweaver CS6 and Premiere CS 5.5 will stop working. So I've held off upgrading my Mac just so that I can use those old programs anymore, because, you know, one of those things. And it's a whole thing. But I think I'm just gonna go for it. I get this discount deal. I don't know if it's just for a year or not, but I get it for $30 a month, the whole Creative Cloud, because I've bought previous products, many of them. Oh, hello. Little guy flies away. Yes, good program for all kinds of coding. I don't have a NVIDIA graphics card in my Mac anyway. It's impossible to add one there unless I buy. Oh no, like you say, I don't even have support then. No, I'm kind of sticking with High Sierra for now. But I don't have any kind of GPU on my Mac. It's all the integrated Intel thing. That's kind of why I have two systems, really, because all the 3D rendering stuff is just so much more smooth on Windows, with spending so much less money on hardware than it would be on Mac OS. Do you think that's what it is, Patrick? That's a good point, actually, Christina. I don't know what Apple are up to. I mean, they're kind of... They don't want to support either of these guys anymore. You think, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Out of the market completely with hardware? They want to build this completely closed system so that they don't have to support anything other than their own custom-designed chips. That's what it is. Being in full control of what you can run on the hardware. Crazy. Do you know, this reminds me more and more of Subnautica. Haven't we just found a skeleton just like that, 500 odd meters below? Guess we're not going downstairs. It's cheaper that way, isn't it? Get a power cable as a bonus. Oh my god, that's just terrible, Christina, really. Yes, that's what they want, isn't it? Metal, they control metal, and it's all totally awesome. And they can then just make any kind of change as long as metal runs. And of course, metal is a closed system, and it's totally un-open source. And yeah. Well, good luck with that, Apple. Seriously, that's... I forgot to take a picture of this guy. I'm totally going to do that from over here. That's just... Look, that's just his... That's one of his ribs. Crazy. Doesn't make sense, does it, Rod? So silly. So what do you think, boys and girls? Down here? I mean, we've just been here. It looks like it's not going anywhere, but I may have well overlooked that. Do you think that was nature? I think, Rod, that's kind of fundamentally the problem with our society. You made a very good point in the Zero Kelvin book there, Brian. In Brian's book, the vision for the future is something that nothing is built as cheap as possible. Things are built extremely expensive, but they're built to last. And I like that idea, because today literally everything's about short-term profits, isn't it? It's like 3 to 5 years tops, but really 1 to 2 years more likely. And then what comes after that? Well, who cares? It's just this short-sightedness is kind of sickening. Whoops! Oh my god, what happened here? I didn't know I was walking through the... Whoa! Really? Oh yeah. Really? This didn't look like the outside of the... Oh yeah, I see now that I look closer. I see. Well, exactly, and some of the stuff you can't actually take out of the landfill. It just gets buried there forever. And what happens when you've dug all the precious metals out of the ground? You shredded them all. Some of them you've retrieved, but most of them are still in a landfill for what? Several million years until the next generation of living things comes along and says, "Hey, let's dig out precious metals so that we can build new iPhones and all that." That is just crazy. It's completely messing with my head as well. Where are we now? You know, and if you explain that to an intelligent human being, you think, well, why would you do that? That makes no sense. Why would you design it so that it breaks in 3 years' time? That's just crazy. Or this whole built-in obsolescence thing, that they don't want you to upgrade your phone past software version X because otherwise you could still be using it in 10 years' time. We don't want for that to happen. That's just so bad. That's rustic, then, I take it. I gotta say, I mean, I won't give anything away for the first Zero Kelvin book, but I was a little bit shocked how abruptly it ended. And of course, it's a massive cliffhanger, so, you know, the finger is already on the buy the next book button, of course, because, you know, I just finished it when I went to bed yesterday, and I thought, oh wow, I need to read the second one. I need to know what happens next. So this is where we are now, the other side of that blue thing. Yeah, future without money. I think, do you know, somehow I feel we're kind of almost getting there. In small steps. So I feel like we're getting more to this society in which, I mean, the major shift that I perceive is this change between, hey, I've made something and you can't have it unless you pay me, to the new way of thinking, which is, we've made something, you can all have it, you can all use it. If you really, really like it, give us some cash for it. And then people give for a different reason. They don't give because they have to. but they give because they want to. And I think that is very, very encouraging. I think that's a very good step in one direction, that people could say, hey, it's available no matter if you pay for this or not. I think that's a very, very nice attitude. I really like that. All right, thank you so much for hanging, Jeremy. Very nice of you to drop by. So funny. Well, exactly. Yeah, that's the concept with the whole Patreon thing. And if it happens on a larger level, like what we see with Blender, I mean, Blender, that's that software that you could take the Autodesk attitude and say it's going to cost you $3,000 a year, or you could say no, actually have it for free. And the people who can give will do that, like big corporations that make a ton of cash with game development. Or like the latest Epic deal. I mean, that is an awesome idea to do that. People who can give will, but they do it from the bottom of their heart rather than with a grudge. I mean, if I compare Adobe and Blender, for example, I give both of them the same amount of money a month, but I probably use them to equal amounts. I think maybe I use them both with the same amount, Photoshop and Blender. But with Adobe, I resent kind of giving them $10 a month, and with Blender, I'm kind of proud to do that. And the outcome is the same. I'm giving away $10 a month, but the motive for doing that is very, very different, and it just makes me feel very different. Oh. Now we're in Fog World. So maybe it's a tax write-off doing that. What do you think? I don't know, maybe they've just seen the light. I mean, Fortnite is, well, it's free. Not free, but it's, yeah. They gave that away for free. That's an interesting thing. Do you know, was this an active load screen? I wonder if that's a very clever way of just loading the geometry in there. I think, well, this is just very foggy here and you just can't see what's behind there. 2 minutes later, oh look, fog's lifted. Oh, hang on a minute, fog's coming back. Why is the fog even happening? Let's have a look. The outside geometry here, the green stuff, I keep thinking I could just walk over and keep walking up there, but of course that's not quite possible. I keep forgetting, in this grey world, I keep forgetting that there is an outside world, that we're in a bubble. And we're quite close to the edge of the bubble actually, but I keep forgetting that. Do you know what, there was a game, I don't know which version of it, but it was Leisure Suit Larry, and it came with a scratch and sniff card. So at certain points in the game you're supposed to take that out and scratch field number 5 and you smell what Larry smells. That's very clever. So epic aren't exactly saints, that's what you're saying, isn't it? So, where do you think we should go next? What else do you think we have to do here? Now that the fog has lifted. Is there a lever? Oh, lever! My God. Thank you, Patrick. I do appreciate that. That is very clever. Okay, I get it. We're on the other side, where the fallen gondola is blocking the pathway, but that doesn't matter because we're now on the upper railway on the other side, having just travelated over here. This is where we are, isn't it? Remember that machine here? The red herring ladder. Now we can walk up it. No, we can't. Okay. Red herring territory anyway. No, I think it was, this is part of the red herring, this is part of the Russian machine here. This is connected, down there's the Russian box somewhere, and this would have gone down and then we could have basically walked up here, but instead we had to do that large puzzle, so... Ah. There is? Oh. Before we turn that other lever, let's have a look at this lever. There's a lever, is there? I'm so glad you guys are here because, oh, look at that. I would be missing all this. And my brain would say, nah, this doesn't work. Ha! Very good. 30 pairs of eyes. Better than one. Patrick, what is it? Patrick, what is it? I'm aware of the lag. I'm just going to pause here. Oh, that was it. Okay, cool. Well, is it time for another lever pull? See where this thing gets us. Oh my god, I can't wait. Walk while I'm in there, but I can certainly look out of the window. I'm glad we had a mic here where he could translate what it said for us. Because I need to straight up caffeine. You need to administer it intravenously. First floor haberdashery. Oh. Oh. Wooden stairs. Another one of those machines. And more wooden stairs. We'll just make a mental note of this. And more of these things. They're creepy. It's a Zafiro. These things, I know they're probably harmless, but I gotta be perfectly honest with you guys, they creep me out. It doesn't matter if they're orange or green or blue or this color, cyan color. See what I did there? Ah! What's with the locked doors, everyone? Oh, and then we have that little thing up there too. I wonder if we've met that door before. Well, when I say met, you know, the other side of it, I think we probably met. Wouldn't that be cool? This is where mix play would come in handy. I bought this other game, I think I mentioned this before, it's called Late Shift, and it integrates with Mixer. And it's more like a movie thing we can watch together, but the way it works is that you guys can press buttons that influence the game that's running on my machine. So essentially we're basically playing the game live together. I think it's called Mix Play. We need to try that out. We're familiar with this process. This could be slightly crazy. Oh, look at that. There's that thing and that thing. These are open. Ah. So it's this whole rocky sphere that gets this glow to it. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, let's press the button. That would have made a noise, wouldn't it? And see where that gets us. One interstellar travel, please. Back to Hunrath. Back to Grey World. I mean, Green World. Somewhere completely different. We are where exactly? Man, GPS isn't working again. Have you noticed that this wooden build-up around here looks almost exactly like the wooden build-up that we've just left behind? Twitch plays, eh? Twitch plays rather than Twitch plays. I've never heard of that. Very cool. I must look into that, Dreamlab. That sounds exciting. Oh, you think that's how it works? Right, right. I'm kind of speechlessly looking around thinking, I know where I am, I just can't believe that I'm here at this point. Are we on top of the the weird sphere that's kind of half hollowed out. We are at what used to be the stone sphere. It now is a wooden sphere. The whole thing teleported. I have a feeling this is how we're going to reach that door that we couldn't open, that we couldn't even reach. If these two things have basically swapped places, if the wooden sphere here has swapped places with the rock sphere, and the rock sphere that used to be here before is now in Grey World, we could just go travel over again to Grey World, reach it there, maybe, and then reach that door. I mean, perhaps. That's a serious feat of engineering that Twitch plays. Or is it a sphere in the making? Now that is also very possible. But it also reminds me of the fact that maybe this is the same principle that applies to the sphere that we're currently living in. I mean, the bubble, the Hunrath bubble, this whole thing. Maybe it works just like that on a much larger level. That we've been ripped from a world with a whole town, and that just got swapped between places. And this is basically like a smaller version of that, almost like a proof of concept, if you will. Well, guys, if this isn't the cliffhanger that we should end on, then I don't know what is. This is amazing. I'm completely blown away. This is really, really cool. I don't even know what we should be doing next time. I'm thinking the way forward now, I think, would be to go back to the Grey World via the other kind of contraption that we've already explored, and then go there and try to see if we can go back to exactly that spot that we've just come from, including the whole wooden support beam up. Because I do remember that the rock sphere had stairs leading up that basically led into nowhere, and it didn't make sense because I just ended up in the air. But maybe that would now connect up with some of those doors that were closed, or that one door that I'm talking about. This is phenomenal. This is a really good game. I'm really enjoying it. But it does mess with your head every once in a while. Ooh. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I have 2 more videos that I'll upload over the next couple of days. Watch out for those. And I guess I will see you guys, hopefully, if my energy levels are up to it, next Friday for more 3D schnick schnack and shenanigans. Bye bye for now. Have a wonderful birthday, Christina. There we go. And I'll see you soon. Take care. It was lovely chatting with you. I'm so glad to be back. I really missed streaming with you guys. Take care. Bye bye.